What is that? Oh, look, there's a tree somewhere. That Bigfoot just tore that tree down.
Night in the forest is never truly silent. Then, a single howl breaks through the dark. Too deep for a coyote, too sharp for a wolf. Witnesses describe it as older, stranger, echoing from everywhere at once. Hunters froze. Campers swore the air itself was alive with sound. Recordings exist, but no one agrees on the source. What kind of creature makes a call like this? Stick around. We'll uncover a hiker's standoff with a mountain lion, Bigfoot territory nights, the Michigan Dogman, the Spotsville Monster, and more. Mist drifts through the mountains of central China. Pines close in. The air feels older here, as if it still carries the weight of forgotten things. Villagers whisper of a giant, a red-haired figure that walks upright, a creature they call Yeren, the wild man. This legend runs deep, deeper than most people outside China realize. For centuries, its presence has been recorded, not just in stories, but in ancient texts. The classic of mountains and seas, written over 2,000 years ago, spoke of wild beings hidden in remote ranges. The Book of Songs, one of China's oldest works, described untamed, human-like figures living beyond the edge of the known world. These fragments echo across time, a pattern too steady to ignore.
One of the oldest Chinese literary works contains poems that reference wild or untamed beings. While not explicitly mentioning the Yeren, these descriptions contribute to the tapestry of ancient narratives about wild, man-like creatures.
But the Yeren is not only ancient myth. Sightings have poured in through the modern era, especially from the dense Shenongjia forest in Hubei province. In 1940, villagers in Sichuan spoke of a family of wild men hiding in caves. In the 1950s, road workers reported a towering red-haired creature that left 40-centimeter footprints in the mud. Those prints were measured, sketched, and compared. They did not match any known animal. In 1961, a railway worker described seeing something over 7 feet tall, its face human, yet not. Others saw it too. Forestry officials, even members of the Shenongjia Forest Committee in 1976. These were not drifters or hunters telling tall tales. These were professionals, trained eyes startled by what crossed their path. Physical evidence soon followed. In 1977, researchers found 17-inch footprints showing anatomical details like dermal ridges, the kind only real living skin can leave. In 1980, scientists recorded more than 200 prints across a mountain ridge, each nearly 19 inches long. They wrote, "The Yeren walks as humans do." Hair samples told another story. In 1988, strands were tested at universities in Shanghai. The results showed chemical levels unlike humans, bears, or primates known in China. Later DNA studies returned anomalies, no match to any local species. One researcher admitted it shares traits with primates, but is not a species we know. And then came the footage. In 2013, a 20-second clip emerged from the forests near Chengdu. Watch closely. A massive dark figure strides through the trees. The arms are long, swinging wide with each step. The gait is smooth, powerful, almost too fluid to fake. But the strangest case surfaced decades earlier. A forgotten video from the 1980s shows what some claim is a human-Yeren hybrid. The story is unsettling. A woman abducted, later giving birth to a child unlike any other. In the footage, the grown man towers above average height, limbs impossibly long, his movement strong, even graceful. Skeptics call it a genetic disorder. Others see something far older, far stranger. Skeptics argue Yeren are just bears. But the Asiatic black bear cannot explain a creature with human-like features, reddish fur, and long arms made for distance walking. Others say, where are the bones? Yet in these humid mountains, Even leopards and tigers vanish into the soil before they can be found. And so the questions remain. The Shenongjia forest still hides its secrets. Footprints, hair, eyewitness accounts, each piece alone could be doubted. But together, they form a mosaic. A story told across centuries, across generations, from ancient texts to modern science. Could the Yeren be real? A relic of our shared past, still moving unseen through the mist? Or is it a myth given flesh by fear, memory, and the forest itself? Fog clings low to the Green River bottoms in western Kentucky, where the tale of the Spotsville monster has haunted families since the early 1970s. The Nunley family was among the first to speak out, claiming their quiet home was stalked by a creature that looked part man, part wolf, red eyes glaring, a face that seemed more human than beast, and a body that moved between two worlds. Neighbors whispered about mutilated livestock, strange footprints, and nights filled with screams. Hunters described seeing it rise upright, towering over 8 feet, moving with a predator's confidence. One even claimed it spoke without words, pressing calm reassurance into his mind before fading back into the rain. Others weren't so fortunate. Dogs were slaughtered, goats torn apart, leaving locals armed with rifles and fear. Newspapers soon named it the Spotsville Monster.
Around, and it had terrible scars on its face, or to me, it looked like scars. Mm-hmm. And it had some kind of a white blouse or a shirt on. Of course, we was all scared, and we took off running toward the back of the house, and I didn't hang around seeing him.
Physical traces only deepened the mystery. Long reddish hairs were collected near farm buildings, and footprints, four-toed, human-like, but massive, were cast. Authorities offered explanations: bears, dogs, hysteria. Some even suggested an out-of-place bear was released deliberately to quiet the spreading panic. But families on the ground knew better. At night, they saw glowing eyes from the tree line, pacing just beyond the reach of lantern light. The legends didn't stop in Kentucky. Reports of similar creatures came from across the Midwest, including an unsettling case in Madison, Wisconsin. A graduate student at the university was walking alone one night downtown when he noticed someone crouched on the sidewalk ahead. But as he approached, the figure shifted, its body canine, its movements wrong. When it turned to face him, the witness froze. The face wasn't that of a wolf or a man. It reminded him of a gorilla, broad, powerful, almost human but not. This was no random bystander in the night. It was something else.
Was walking on a sidewalk late at night and saw at first what he thought was a human crouching down, and then it appeared to be that he was looking at a canine shape, and before it was all over, it stopped, turned around and looked at him, and had the face of an ape, or he said it reminded him of a gorilla.
Researchers now describe these creatures as bipedal canines, beings that can run on all fours to vanish into the woods, then rise to full height when they wish to reveal their presence. Some believe they are a heretofore unknown species, adapted over centuries to walk upright, intelligent enough to elude us. Others tie them to Native American traditions of shapeshifters, beings that slip through dimensions, stepping into our world when they choose, and retreating through unseen portals when they do not. This, they argue, explains why no one has ever captured one alive, why bodies vanish, why only fear and fragments remain. In Madison, the graduate student never forgot that face. In Spotsville, families still speak of red eyes watching from the dark. And across the Midwest, witnesses continue to report encounters, some fleeting, some violent, all unforgettable. Perhaps these creatures are flesh and blood, hunters adapted in ways science cannot yet explain. Perhaps they are something older, something spiritual, beings that exist half here, half beyond. But the consistency of the accounts is difficult to ignore. Upright stance, canine features, Shoulders unlike any wolf, intelligence in the eyes, aggression that stops short of an attack, as if their goal is not to kill, but to remind us that we are being watched. So what lingers in the fields of Kentucky and the streets of Wisconsin? A new predator, still unknown? Or an ancient being that slips through the cracks of our world only long enough to remind us of what waits beyond the edge of reason? A summer evening in northwestern Wisconsin should have been nothing more than fun. John was at his family's cabin near Yeren, a place where he had visited since childhood. The woods stretched for miles in every direction, quiet, familiar, and alive with summer sounds. His father had taught him firearm safety when he was just 11 or 12, so a simple BB gun battle with his cousin was nothing to fear. The game began in an open field, two boys chasing, dodging, and firing harmless plastic rounds. One wore woodland camouflage, the other plain clothes. Laughter carried across the clearing. Eventually, the game spilled into the tree line. Shadows grew longer. Each boy ducked between trees, waiting for the other to slip. Then the forest changed, birdsong ceased, the air grew still. The boys only noticed when one called for a break, his chest heaving from running. In that silence came the realization that something else was there. It wasn't just the absence of sound. It was the weight of being watched.
And from the fire pit, you can look up the hill that goes to that tree line, and it feel like at night, like there's something watching you. I always felt like their eyes just locked onto you from up there.
John scanned the clearing. At about 30 yards, something shifted. What emerged wasn't his cousin. Through the foliage stood a spotted figure, pale patches breaking against the darkness. Its teeth caught the dim light, long and jagged. Its jaws hung wide. The eyes struck him most of all, sharp, piercing, as if measuring him. They weren't the curious eyes of a bear. They were the eyes of a predator. Before John could react, the thing moved. It crossed half the clearing in seconds. Later, he swore it came close enough that it could have reached out and grabbed him by the hair.
Close enough where it could have reached out and grabbed me by my hair. Once we cleared the tree line, we stopped hearing the animal.
His cousin saw it too, and instinct took over. Both boys tore through the trees, sprinting until the cabin lights came into view. The crashing pursuit behind them ended as suddenly as it began. Once they broke free of the tree line, the woods went silent again.
Hey, let's not go too far into the woods, John.
We were at the top of a hill where there's a slight clearing in the wood line where you can see for a good 50, 60 yards.
To their grandparents, they called it a bear. It was easier to explain, but when John's mother pressed him later, he admitted the truth. It was something else. Something that didn't move like a bear. His mother had her own story. Driving a back road one night, she saw an animal twice the size of a wolf cross into her headlights. Its stride was wrong, unnaturally fluid, like it was built for both running and standing. It turned its head toward her car and locked eyes with her before lunging forward. At the last moment it stopped, retreating back into the trees. The stare, she later said, felt almost human.
Close enough where it could have reached out and grabbed me by my hair. Once we cleared the tree line, we stopped hearing the animal.
In time, John learned the name others had given it, the Wisconsin Dogman. The term sounded strange, almost childish, but the descriptions matched. Upright stance, canine features, shoulders broader than any wolf, intelligence in the gaze. Reports dated back decades, scattered across the state. For John, the encounter changed something. He no longer entered those woods with boyish ease. Every step carried the memory of how quickly silence could fall, how quickly eyes could appear. He understood now that whatever lived there wasn't just an animal, It was a hunter, a watcher, something that chose when to be seen. Michigan is a land of legends. Forests stretching endless, swamps thick with shadow, and for more than a century, one creature has haunted its people. A beast said to walk on two legs, part man, part wolf. The Michigan Dogman. Banks Drinnen sets out to uncover the truth. His journey begins not in the forest, but inside a roadside attraction, Mystery Town, USA. Among the strange exhibits, one display catches his eye. Signs speak of the Dogman's first sighting in Wexford County, 1887. Two lumberjacks, a creature like no other. The growl alone chills the air. Hear it for yourself.
Other than that, there really wasn't anything else about him other than hearing what his growl sounds like.
Push button to hear Dogman growl. Yeah, we know what to look for now. We're familiar with the growl.
But the clues are thin. So Banks drives deeper into Wexford, to a small bar said to house a Dogman statue. Locals are wary. A woman hints at stories but holds back. Others shrug it off as bears, black bears, common in the woods, often seen rearing on hind legs. Confusion, they say, can build legends. Still searching, Banks follows a lead down the road. A woodcarver shakes his head. He has never seen the Dogman. But bears, he says, they're everywhere. Even so, whispers continue. Some point further north to a place called Irons, Michigan. A small town with more questions than answers. Here, Banks finds Dory, known by locals as the Dogman Lady. She invites him into her home, walls lined with Dogman art, carvings, and history. She tells him how the legend grew. In the 1980s, a radio DJ wrote a song about the Dogman. The tune spread across jukeboxes, across taverns, until the creature took on a life of its own. But Dory insists it's more than just music. Her daughter once saw something, 7 feet tall, long arms, a snout like a wolf, but a body built like a man. It lunged from a ditch at night and vanished. The memory still haunts her.
She, a couple of years back, was coming back from a concert in the Cadillac area. She was riding with a girlfriend, and they were going down a dirt road, leaving the area and kind of back roading it home. And she was driving. So she says, I know I was sober and everything was fine, you know. And she said something came right up out of the ditch. She said, it's not like anything I've ever seen. I didn't see the full body, but it like lunged up as she went past it. And she just said it looked like the Dogman.
Through Dory, Banks finally meets Rich, a man tied closely to the local Dogman conventions. Rich hasn't seen the creature himself, but he swears the forests near Luther hold stories. He mentions bars where tales are told, whispers of something hunting chickens, something not quite bear, not quite wolf. In Luther, Banks finds little. Locals are guarded, quick to dismiss him. Until one man offers a theory. A swamp outside town, a place where nuisance bears were once released. Sick bears, mange stripping their fur, rising on hind legs in the moonlight. To some, they looked like monsters, like dogmen. Banks and his crew head into the woods, following the lead. The swamp is hard to find, but soon the forest itself speaks. A howl cuts the air.
What was that?
But it sounded more like a coyote than anything.
I mean, we heard a howl, but I don't think that was the Dogman. It sounded pretty...
It sounds like coyote, but could it be something else? Their steps falter. The night feels alive. Later, near Rich's home, fresh paw prints trail across the snow, proof of bears, large and heavy. And with them, perhaps, the final clue. The Dogman legend may not have begun with a beast at all, but with a song, with bear tracks misread, with stories passed from one voice to another, until myth became truth. Still, the question lingers. In the dark woods of Michigan, where howls echo and shadows walk upright, is the Dogman only legend, or is there something more, waiting where the roads end and the forest begins? The forest feels different when you know what waits inside. Dee has walked these paths before, carrying a radiation detector that once lit up without warning, spiking in places where something unseen seemed to move. Today, she returns. Beside her is David. At her side, the dogs. Together they step back into Dogman's field. The ground is damp. The trees lean close. Almost at once, Dee stops. Something catches her eye. A shape in the tree line, half hidden in glare. "What is that?" she whispers, camera shaking. Behind the trees, a figure seems to shift. A shadow or something more. Watch closely.
What is that? What is that? Can you come look at this? Do you see that? I'm trying to keep it steady. Hold on. Right there in the middle. Behind those trees.
As she steadies her lens, another mystery unfolds. A light cuts across the sky. Quick, sudden, it dips, then vanishes in seconds. A flash like it entered the woods, then slipped away. Dee's voice cracks with disbelief.
Also, when I pointed this up the hill just to watch, a light came out of the sky and just disappeared at the same time. It was like, it came in, swooped a little and left, like within 2 seconds. It was crazy.
The dogs push forward, restless. They seem to sense what she feels, the weight of eyes in the tree line. Mara freezes, pointing, ears stiff. Dee turns the camera. "What you got?" she asks. But the shape is gone before the lens can catch it. The detector strangely remains silent. The red light that once pulsed with danger holds steady. No beeping, no alarm. Yet Dee insists it's even more proof they're back there. Because if nothing around them gives off radiation, then the silence itself feels like a warning.
No, it's not even blinking at all. Can't even see the numbers because it's so, with the red you'd be able to see it, it's bright. Niente, so it's so weird that's going off in the back, so it's even more proof that they're back there because there's nothing that would give off radiation.
The trail twists through stone and overgrowth. Dee finds branches wedged high in trees, too deliberate to be chance. She pans the camera, showing one pine wedged awkwardly into branches above. "This doesn't belong here," she says.
Oh, shnikes. Shnikes! This don't belong to that tree, but yet it's up there. Into that spot up there. Look at that. This tree is totally different. It's a pine tree. This branch don't belong here. And the top's at the bottom. And that's wedged up between branches up there.
The forest pushes back with sound. A crack, sticks breaking. Something large moves just beyond sight. Dee pulls the dogs closer. Their hackles rise, their bodies stiff. Mara points again, staring into the brush, refusing to move. Dee whispers, "Good girl." "What do you see?" As they press deeper, memories surface. Dee recalls a night when footsteps followed her, panting close behind. When the detector screamed, her light died, and something on 2 feet ran past. Today, daylight hides those shadows, but the feeling, it's the same. Down by the river, the echoes return. Knocks from across the water, the same place where she once heard them with Ralph. Her calves burn on the steep path, but she pushes forward, pointing out where the voices carried before. The dogs stay close, tighter than usual, as if they too remember.
Yeah, that's the river. And then that's where we got the knocks across the way. And then as we were coming up, something on 2 feet ran past us and was panting. And then this alarm went off and my light died all at the same moment on live stream.
Then, another shape. Far off, behind the woodpile where she once caught the dogman's form. This time it looks like something peeking through. Too much glare to be clear, but it lingers long enough to chill. "See it?" she asks, zooming hard. By the end, the trail reveals a forgotten road, paved long ago, now swallowed by earth. History erased, mystery left behind. Dee shakes her head. They cover these things. Pretend they were never here. The field feels heavier as they leave. Voices drift through the valley. Branches snap without wind. The dogs glance back again and again. And though the detector never beeps, the silence feels louder than any alarm. What do you think? Did Dee and David walk among shadows of the past? Or was something still watching from the trees, hidden in the silence of Dogman's forest? Snow blankets the ground. A hush lingers between the trees. But not all is still. Out here, in what Mo Sargi calls Bigfoot Forest, something waits. Something that has already left its mark once before. Tonight, Mo has returned, despite fever, injury, and cold. And what he finds is stranger than before. He isn't alone.
Just want you guys to know that I came out here today. I'm sick as a dog. I have a high fever. I have a big cold. And my leg is still hurting me from when we were inside of Slenderman Forest when I got attacked with a baseball bat. Big thank you to each and every one of you wishing me well. This is why I haven't uploaded in 2 days. It's because I've been very, very sick. You guys see there's snow everywhere, so it's cold.
Danny and Ash walk with him, cameras rolling, steps crunching over the snow. Mo explains why they're back. Weeks ago, strange tracks appeared near the fort they built. Footprints larger than any man. Tree structures that seemed too deliberate to be chance. This time, he says, winter might reveal even more. Early on, they see it. A tree leaning into another, lifted high, pinned in place. It wasn't there before. To Mo, it feels like a marker, a scene.
Now, this was not here the last time we came through here. And we were here like maybe 2 weeks ago. And we walked through the exact same area. So I'm hoping that this is a sign. Like, look, that tree is perfectly placed up top there. And that tree is perfectly placed there. Okay, now if you were to even say this one could have fallen over, okay, I'll give you that one. But that one, there's a tree dangling in the air, literally. Been pinned by that tree to that tree. How is that even possible?
He speaks of documentaries, of what others have claimed, that Bigfoot stacks trees, leaves warnings, marks territory. Prepared, he pulls fruit from his pack. Apples, bananas, even cranberries.
I got from the documentaries and I learned from actually reading books and stuff about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. They love apples, they love bananas, they love fruits. So I brought with me a whole grocery store, literally in my backpack. I'm going to be leaving out fruits here throughout the night, and we're going to see if they bite, if they come forth and actually eat them. I don't know what to expect. We're actually out here for the adventure. I want to bring you guys with us on the adventure, so I hope you guys feel like you're part of this adventure.
He knows the stories, that Sasquatch craves fruit. He wedges the food high in the branches, nearly 10 feet up. If he's here, Mo says, he'll find it.
Guys, Mo decided to put the bananas and the apples high up in the tree. So do you think that's about 10 feet?
Yeah, that's higher than 10 feet.
Yeah. But you can probably get up there easily, huh?
I don't know if bears like bananas and apples. They probably do because they eat everything. So hopefully no bears decide to climb this tree.
Hopefully I don't fall my leg.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Darkness falls. The three huddle inside their old fort. Snow walls built high, wooden beams holding fast. To pass the hours, they build snowmen outside, odd guardians of ice and shadow. But night is long, and soon unease creeps back. The first growl cuts through the silence. Deep, heavy, not far, then another. Listen close. They freeze.
Off camera, we just heard the loudest freaking growl ever.
Yo, it's coming from like...
That sounded like a tree moving, like falling over.
I don't know. No, it's... Shh.
You hear that? You fucking hear that?
What was that, man? Right there.
You hear that?
You hear that? Mo whispers. Trees shift. Branches strain. Something is moving beyond their light. Fear takes hold, but curiosity pulls them deeper. They leave the fort, step by step toward the sound. Snow crunches louder than they wish. The forest seems to close in, and then, silence. When they reach the baited tree, the truth is startling. The fruit is gone, every piece. The apples stripped, the bananas devoured. Scratch marks rise up the trunk, long, deep. Something climbed for them, something powerful. See the discovery.
Yo, that wasn't like that. I think that tree was on the ground when we came there.
That must have been the loud noise that we heard. Where are the fruits?
The tree fell? That's what the noise was? No.
I don't think that tree fell. Oh,
what the heck?
Dude, the banana's been eaten.
Where's...
Look. There's scratch marks all the way up where the apples were.
Holy shit, yo, there's banana peel there.
Check this.
Check this.
Oh!
Nearby, a new tree has fallen against another. Not random, placed, almost woven into the woods. It wasn't like this before, Mo says. His voice is tight. Between the claw marks, the missing fruit, and the unnatural tree, the weight of the unknown presses hard.
Guys, take a look. They put a tree up onto the tree where we left the apples.
Did you see that that's the form they make or something? Like that's
Possibly, or this tree fell from somewhere, but I doubt it fell, bro.
It honestly looked like they were like skinning the tree. Look at all this.
Yeah, look. Look at that. Bro, those are scratch marks. Those are claw marks. Those are warning marks.
Yeah, look at this.
Those are literally warning marks. But by what?
Could it have been a bear, a wolf, or something else? Mo doesn't know. The forest holds its answer. And as the night deepens, another truth calls him away. A phone call, an emergency. The search must end, for now.
Guys, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut this vlog really short. I just got a call from my mom. My uncle's in the hospital. He just got into a car accident. As you guys know, it is Canada, and there is a lot of snow on the roads. And he apparently a car swerved and hit his car, and he's in the hospital. He's injured. I don't know what condition he's in, but I'm kind of freaking out right now. I need to leave, guys. We need to leave right now.
But the marks remain. The tree, the fruit, the growls in the dark. Out here, Bigfoot Forest feels alive. So what do you think? Was it a hungry animal following instinct? Or was something far larger, something that moves trees and leaves warnings, watching from the shadows? In the wetlands of Bigfoot territory, one man dares to return to a place he swore he'd never walk again. Just nights ago, his path was cut short by a single crash in the trees, and a pair of glowing eyes staring from the dark. He turned back then, but tonight he comes again, to see what waits when the sun is gone. Stick around. Jar Bear arrives in the last light of day. A camera in one hand, supplies on his shoulders. The trail is narrow, lined with thick brush. It feels safer in daylight, but already the forest is dimming. He knows what happened here before.
And right in this area, there was a huge set of eyes standing. I could see it moving too. I'm nervous now though, because the sun's going down. I felt a lot better about 15 minutes ago when it was pretty daylight.
The eyes, the crash, the fear that froze him in his tracks. Now he takes the first step forward, heart heavy with doubt. The forest swallows him, each branch bends low, each step echoes sharp. As the sun slips behind the trees, his nerves rise. The silence is broken, a rustle, then footsteps, faint but certain. He swings the light, nothing, only shadows shifting. But then, eyes, more than one pair.
In a huge bag. I am too freaking scared, man. I was about to go back there too. Look, can you see those eyes? Yeah, nope, not tonight.
He freezes, his voice trembles. "What is that?" he whispers. The eyes stay, the forest holds its breath. Then, a crash. Something hurled through the dark.
Holy smokes. I just dropped the... Man, something just threw some. These eyes are still there. Heck no. Okay. These things are turning on.
Fear creeps in like a tide. He forces himself deeper down the trail. The weight of his gear pulls him down, but he keeps moving. He sets camp. A small fire flickers, but comfort doesn't last. The forest stirs again. Another knock, another pair of eyes, closer this time.
There's eyes. What is that? There's a bunch of eyes.
He tries to call out, testing the night with a tree knock, even a shout. The reply comes not in sound but in presence. Heavy steps circling, eyes drifting in and out of the beam. And again, something thrown, not once but twice.
Holy smokes. I just dropped the... Man, something just threw some. These eyes are still there. What just thumped from over here?
See the throw. Panic tightens his chest. His fire dies, his light falters. He knows he isn't alone. Shapes move beyond the reach of his flashlight. Eyes shimmer in the dark, then vanish, then return again, each time closer. He whispers, "They're sneaking. See for yourself."
That is so creepy.
By now his hands shake. The chair is packed. The gear is gathered. His only thought is to leave. But leaving means walking past the very eyes that wait for him. And they are still there, watching, following. Watch the stalk.
Oh, there's eyes following me. There's eyes following me.
Every step toward safety is heavy with dread. The forest feels alive, pushing him out, or perhaps drawing him deeper. His heart races as he looks back one last time. Eyes glint from the trees. Silent, patient. He whispers to the camera, "I'm being hunted. The wetlands will never be the same." From this night on, Jar Bear calls it Bigfoot Forest, a place where fire dies, light fails, and something in the dark is always watching. What do you think? Were these eyes only animals of the night, or something far older that walks these woods? A lone hiker, a quiet canyon in Arizona, and a mountain lion waiting in the trees. What began as a calm afternoon would turn into the most terrifying night of her life. It was December 2nd. She had been 4 days into a 5-day trek through Saguaro National Park. By mid-afternoon, she reached Grass Shack Campground and set her gear down. The desert air was cool. The sun angled low across the canyon walls. Everything felt still. Then the silence broke. A herd of deer came crashing through the canyon, hooves pounding rock, scattering in panic. She thought little of it, just wildlife passing. Minutes later, the quiet returned. She turned her head and froze. A mountain lion sat perched on a tree branch, no more than 10 feet away. Its body stretched along the trunk, its eyes fixed directly on her. For a moment, the world seemed to narrow to that stare. Predator and human, locked in silence. The predator had been there, silent, waiting above camp. Her camera captured the moment. Watch yourself.
I had a feeling, the way those deer were acting. I may have to spray this cat in a second.
Tiffany shouts, claps, even hisses at the cougar. She throws rocks, but the cat doesn't flinch. Its eyes remain fixed, calm, unmoved. Minutes drag by. Each shout, "Hey, get it!" echoes against the canyon walls. But the lion stays, even stretches, sharpening its claws against the bark, as though mocking her presence. See it for yourself.
Hey! Get! Hey! Get! Bad cat! Bad cat!
Fear rises in Tiffany's voice. She admits on camera, "That cougar was not afraid of me at all."
That is probably the scariest that's ever happened to me in my entire life. That cougar was not afraid of me at all.
As the standoff continues, scrub jays begin to mob the predator, diving at it with sharp cries. Finally, the lion climbs down, vanishing into the brush. For a moment, Tiffany breathes. Relief. Maybe it's gone. But minutes later, it returns, circling back toward her camp. Panic sets in. She fumbles her phone, convinced the cat might even snatch her gear. Alone in the fading light, she debates whether to stay or flee. She can hear the cougar moving nearby, branches shifting in the dark. Exhausted and shaken, she admits into the camera, "I feel pretty sick to my stomach right now. I'm terrified."
Y'all, I'm terrified. This is no joke. I had a cougar in my camp. And that jerk sat in a tree above my bear box and didn't want to leave. I threw rocks. I yelled.
The night stretches on, sleepless. Every noise becomes a cougar. Every shadow holds the weight of fear. Tiffany clutches a rock for protection, but it feels useless. She tries to laugh it off, tries to sound braver than she feels, but her voice cracks. The wilderness is no longer silent. It's alive, and it's hunting. At last, as deer snort warnings in the distance, the mountain lion slips away for good. Tiffany seizes her chance, leaving camp behind and hiking 10 miles through the night to safety. The National Park Service would later close the entire area for over a week due to mountain lion activity. A reminder that in the desert's heart, we are never truly alone. That in the stillness of wild places, something always watches back. So the question remains, if you turned right now and saw those eyes fixed on you, what would you do? A decision that may have saved his life.
Out of the Uinta Mountains in Utah, this area seems to be an epicenter of the largest concentrations of Sasquatch sightings in the entire state of Utah. We have done dozens of Bigfoot expeditions into that area because of that over the years, and so this brutal Sasquatch encounter with a couple of guys camping near the Provo River is of interest to our team.
The night was silent when Dario woke to pounding at his cabin door. On the other side, Robert was screaming, blood on his face, his nose shattered. He stumbled inside, trembling, gasping, repeating the same words. "A demon! Something hit me!" Confused, Dario tried to understand, until he looked toward the window, and froze. There, just below the cabin lamp, stood a figure, a giant man-ape form, its face long, covered in coarse hair, its dark eyes locked onto his. For a moment, time stopped. He described it as if everything in the world, the beating of his heart, the breath in his chest, just ceased. Then came the smile, slow, twisted, a grin that revealed rows of square, human-like teeth, except for two tusk-like points at the back. The creature leaned closer, hand rising to the window.
Then he pointed to the window, fell to the ground, and crawled under the bed. I looked to the window and saw something that made me freeze. I don't know what feeling it felt. It felt like time stopped. My heart stopped. Everything stopped. The shock was that big. In the window, right below the lamp of the porch, there was a gigantic ape man. It was a hairy, long-faced caveman with dark eyes like a gorilla, but had a human nose and chimp-like skin.
And with shocking strength, it tried to slide it open. Dario's instinct took over. He grabbed his .38 revolver. As the arm pushed through, he fired twice. The cabin shook with the creature's scream. A scream so powerful it dropped him to his knees. And then, just like that, it was gone. The smell lingered. Rot, decay. The stench of death clung to the cabin air until it made him sick. His friend had fainted beneath the bed, too terrified to move. They locked the doors, waited for dawn, and finally called the police. But Dario never told the full truth. He claimed it was an animal attack.
I fired 2 times, and he screamed. That scream was so loud it made me crumble to my knees. That thing vanished in a blink of an eye, and a disgusting stench of rotten meat filled the room. I puked. I couldn't stand that situation. I then locked everything and pulled my friend from under the bed. He had fainted under there. I then called the police. They came in and they woke up Robert.
Afraid the mention of a man-ape would bring nothing but ridicule. Later, Robert filled in his part of the story. He said he had been pulled from his tent by the feet, dragged into the dirt before being struck in the face with enough force to shatter bone. Somehow, he broke free. Somehow, he made it to the cabin. Others had reported similar violence in these mountains. Decades earlier, 2 young miners fled after their camp was attacked. They abandoned everything, leaving even clothes behind. Tracks found later suggested multiple creatures.
Don't remember the month or day. I went to a campground in the Uinta, Wasatch. I wanted to do the camping I heard many Americans talk about. I went there with a friend named Robert from town. I confess that I'm a very cowardly person. I have no shame in saying that. It's the truth. When he said that he would sleep in a tent, I said no, and I slept in a small cabin there.
And one stove had been twisted almost in half, as if it were nothing. For Dario, the memory never left. The size of the figure at his window, the sound of that scream, the smell of rotting flesh. He says he'll never set foot in the woods again, and who could blame him? Because if what he saw that night was real, then sometimes the forest doesn't just watch. Sometimes it strikes. What do you think? Was this an angry Sasquatch defending its territory or something else altogether? The forest has many names. Some call it the Fallen Angel Forest. Others say it's cursed ground, a place where the trees bend into strange arches, where shadows carry voices, and where the night itself feels alive. Tonight, Jer Bear, host of Exploring with Bear, and his friend Dee step into these woods, searching for answers. What they find is something far more unsettling. It begins quietly, almost ordinary. The two walk along a worn path, talking about why they came. Dee had been here before and didn't want to return alone. Strange encounters had left her uneasy. Voices, shapes, movements in the trees. Jer Bear, curious but cautious, agrees to join. But even before they set up, the forest begins to react.
So the last time Dee was here, she caught some crazy things, and I'll put the screenshots up. And it's like a new cryptid, or I believe fallen angel, that made itself known. And what's really crazy is the one lizard picture, you guys have found something similar and sent that to me, and it looks really close. I'll have to show you that later. The faces look eerily similar.
At the 2-minute mark, the sound of whistling drifts through the trees. Not birds, not the wind, something deliberate, something following. Footsteps scrape gravel, heavy and slow, as if something large is pacing them from behind. Then comes the clicking. A sound Jer Bear has heard before, sharp, unnatural, almost insect-like, but louder, closer. Branches shift, and both explorers stop, flashlights sweeping. The sound darts around them, circling. Dee whispers, clickers. As the night deepens, the forest grows stranger. Structures appear, massive wooden weaves and bent arches, like someone or something deliberately built them. Driftwood stacked high, trees twisted into patterns too complex to be chance. They find one enormous shelter, large enough to crawl inside.
Slide.
Yeah, but look at the toes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 toes. What was that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, but I thought it might have just been the woods.
It was crack. It was a crack.
Like a knock-knock?
No, like a branch crack.
Its walls pressed tight with branches woven by unseen hands. Jer Bear films it with awe, whispering that no ordinary person would spend this much time crafting something so hidden, so intricate. But fascination turns to fear. From above, branches rain down. The explorers realize they aren't alone. Something, many somethings, are in the trees, watching. The air grows heavy. Jer Bear says his stomach knots, and both admit they feel lightheaded. confused, as if the forest itself is pressing against them, playing with their minds. The sounds shift again, running, chittering, then silence. For a moment only their breath fills the night. Dee calls out softly, trying to speak to whatever is near.
I don't like it. It looks like something just hunking down there and its back's just showing. Oh, this is bad. So bad. Look how open. Like, look at it. Something is using this.
Yeah, for sure.
The leaves, how bedded down it is. Soft, like carpet for them. Oh, man.
We're not here to harm you. We just want to look. Her voice trembles, but she holds steady. They keep moving. Eyeshine flickers ahead. White glowing dots peering from the dark, even without light to reflect. Something crouches low, watching, ducking behind fallen logs. Each step forward feels like walking deeper into a trap. And then, the knocks. Sharp, deliberate hits echo through the woods, answered by more in the distance. The forest grows colder, their breath visible in the beam of the flashlight. The timing is too perfect to be wind. The explorers glance at each other, unease thick between them. Every sense screams to leave, but they push on a little further until the clicking returns.
Yeah.
There too. Wait a minute. Look at the toes on that. That is so weird. It's not like you got the little pinky toe, and then there would have been the other ones, and there's the other toe.
That's sort of apish, it reminds me
Right,
of.
but at the same time,
It's like the pinky toe's a thumb.
like it slid a little. Right.
Whoa, man, I feel really weird all of a sudden.
See? Lightheaded? Dizzy?
Sorta, yeah.
Confused? Yeah.
Rapid, surrounding. Gerbear's voice cracks, weary and frightened. I don't want more clickers. They've had enough. Their lights flicker. Batteries drain at impossible speed. The forest feels alive, angry, pressing in on all sides. Finally, they turn back, walking quickly down the road that led them here, hearts racing, every step haunted by the sound of something moving just beyond sight. By the end, Gerbear admits the truth. If Dee hadn't been there, he might not have made it through. The woods left them shaken, sick, and unsettled. So what is Fallen Angel Forest? A place of cryptids, a stronghold of dogman or clickers, or something older, something that twists trees and minds alike. Whatever it is, these woods do not want visitors. Would you dare to walk there at night? The Kalahari does not sleep. Even at dusk, when the sky burns red and shadows stretch across the sand, the wilderness keeps watch. And for one man, the night was waiting. Clive Curtis, known to many as Safari Dad, had guided guests through these lands for over a decade. But this time, he was alone. 4 days of solo camping in a remote Big Five wilderness, miles from roads, fences, or comfort. Just canvas, firelight, and the wild.
Wait. We actually have to go back to the evening before.
That evening was calm. The air shimmered with heat as the sun sank low. Glossy ibis picked in the shallows. Wildebeest grazed the open plain. Black rhino, oryx. Even hyena circling close to camp. The bush seemed alive with movement, yet strangely at peace. He cooked by firelight, then retreated to his tent. The desert grew quiet, the stars pressed down, and the night deepened. At dawn, he unzipped the tent, half awake, reaching for coffee, eager to stretch into the morning. That's when he froze. Across the clearing, 3 young male lions and a lioness moved silently toward camp. Not wandering, not passing by, coming straight for him. Heart racing, Clive slipped from the tent, moving with steady calm toward the land cruiser. He knew their age. Young, curious, bold. Lions that would not simply pass. They would test, explore, and perhaps challenge. From the safety of the vehicle, he watched. The lions spread out, circling, their paws pressed soft against the sand, tails twitching with mischief. One tugged at the camp chair, dragging it like a toy. Another nosed through gear, scattering scent. The camp became theirs in seconds. Each object pulled, sniffed, carried. And still, they lingered. No rush, no fear, just a wild, raw presence filling the clearing. Hours passed as he sat with them. The sun climbed, painting gold across their coats. They rested, rose, and moved again. And he followed, at a distance, engine low, spending the morning in their company, a privilege few will ever know, to share silence with lions, to witness their curiosity up close, unbroken by glass or bars. But the bush always has another secret waiting. Later, packing the tent, Clive rolled canvas tight, only to uncover what had lain beneath him through the cold desert nights. Coiled in the sand, sluggish from the chill, was a puff adder, thick, venomous, a breath away from where he had slept. For days, man and serpent had shared the same ground, unseen, unknowing.
Packing up that camp and folding up my tent, I rolled up my tent and only to discover I had been sleeping on a very nice big puff adder.
The lions had moved on. The snake would too. But the memory remained, the knowledge that in the wilderness you are never truly alone. Something always watches. Something always waits. So what would you have done? Unzipping the tent to find lions walking toward you? Would you stand? Would you run? Or like Clive, would you sit quietly and let the wild show itself? The forest was quiet, too quiet. A stillness hung in the air, broken only by the crunch of boots against soft earth. Mark, better known as Colorado Bigfoot, had been chasing shadows for years, but on this day something felt different. He wasn't just out searching, he was being led. At the base of a ridge, he stopped. A tree shifted, not from the wind, but from something pressing against it. "He's right here," Mark whispered, breath caught in his throat.
This tree moves. He's right here. You can see where he was. This tree just got moved and pushed into this. Look, he made all the tracks and everything.
The tree moved again. Branches snapped. And then the prints, fresh, deep, too large for anything else. He followed the trail. Broken branches leaned like markers. The earth showed signs of heavy weight pressing down. Footprints with toes clear as day. Stones shifted beside them, scat fresh along the path. Something big had passed through. Something that knew he was close.
There's a footprint with toes right there, with a rock next to it. Oh yeah, he's coming in here. Oh, there's poop. Nice pile of poop. And they're going right through there all the time. It's all big, flat, see? No game, all big, flat stuff.
The deeper he walked, the stranger it became. A boulder loomed ahead, massive and out of place, standing alone like it had been set there by hands not human. Around it, the ground was trampled, beaten flat, as if something large circled it again and again. "They come out right here," he said softly, his camera catching the quartz face of the rock. "I've even seen faces looking straight from inside." It wasn't just rock, it was a doorway. Strange structures appeared next. Sticks crossed into perfect X's, placed against boulders and trees. A trident of branches leaned nearby, unmistakable, deliberate.
Anything too unusual here, I do have an X. The closest sticks to the boulder make an X. X marks the spot. This is it right here. Here, watch. Oh, there's a bone. One bone. Come on, it's one bone like always. Anybody home?
He had filmed hundreds of these before, but this spot, this one felt alive, as if eyes were on him from every angle. A noise stirred behind him. Branches rustled low. His breath quickened. "They're right with me," he whispered, not daring to turn. Then came the sound again, closer this time, deliberate, like something pacing his every step. Mark scanned the slope. The hill rose steep, sharper than the camera showed, nearly vertical in places. At the top, silence. But instinct told him someone was watching. Maybe more than one. He whistled into the trees, a signal he used often. "I'm not sneaking. I'm not hiding," he said, but the forest gave no reply, only the steady tension of something just beyond sight. And then, the seat. Grass packed flat, earth pressed down smooth.
Oh, he was just sitting right there. This is all a seat. Look at the grass. It's completely packed into the... He was sitting right there. You know it was him because of that. Not to mention what else I just showed you. Right there is the seat. Oh, there's another one.
A perfect spot where something heavy had crouched. Another nearby, then another. They had been sitting there, waiting, watching, structures stacked higher the further he walked. Double X's. Leaners wedged between stones in ways nature could never manage. A wall built from sticks, the ground around it churned with footprints. "This is one of the most amazing finds I've ever had," he breathed. Yet the feeling only grew heavier, as if stepping too far might break an unspoken boundary. His camera blurred and stuttered, the focus pulling strangely toward the boulder, locking onto shadows and shapes it mistook for faces. "They're messing with the tech," he muttered. "I know it." Finally, he stopped. The forest pressed close, alive with signs but silent as stone. Around him, X's, tridents, footprints, seats, walls. Behind him, the steady weight of eyes. And then he asked the question we all think but never say out loud. If they can be this close, this clear, why haven't they stepped out? Maybe it isn't about proof. Maybe it's about trust. Or maybe some doors are never meant to open. The howls fade, but the unease lingers. Were they cries of a predator, a warning, or something far stranger? The forest remains silent, leaving us with more questions than proof. One thing's certain, the night is alive with secrets. Stick around. There's more waiting in the dark. Do you want me to shape this series so each episode intro-outro feels connected, like an ongoing mystery trail? Or keep them as standalone chills?